grade 7 students. Here I am again, Mrs. Elvira A1, your teacher in English. Today, we are going to have the discussion on the first quarter module 3 lesson, and that is in the active and passive voice. But before we proceed to our lesson, let's try to recall the lesson that we had last time. We talked about, yes, the genres in viewing. So we had movie trailer, news report, weather forecast, and internet-based programs. Today, after going through this module, you are expected to use the active and passive voice meaningfully in varied contexts. Specifically, you are expected to first identify sentences in active and passive voice. Second, determine context when to use active voice and passive voice. And third, construct sentences using active and passive voice. So, are you ready to have the discussion on our lesson? If yes, then let's have a diagnostic test. Let's try to see how much you know about active and passive voice already. I will give you sentences and let me hear your guess. Let me know your guess. Is it in the active voice or in the passive voice? Take note, it's okay to have a mistake in this part because we are just trying to have some recall of your previous knowledge. First sentence, a memo was written by her. A memo was written by her. Passive or active? The answer is passive. Yes, that is a sentence in the passive voice. Another. The nurse wears face mask and face shield. The nurse wears face mask and face shield. Is it in the active or passive voice? Alright, the correct answer is active. Yes, that is in the active voice. Let's try to have another. Surgery is performed by a team of specialists. Surgery is performed by a team of specialists. Is it in the passive or active? Okay, the correct answer is passive. What about in this sentence? Frontliners inspect all passers-by. Frontliners inspect all passers-by. The answer is active. It is in the active voice. Now, are you seeing the difference between active and passive voice? Can you now observe the difference between the two? If not yet, it's okay. Let's move on to more examples. Here, a disposable latex glove is worn by the medical doctor. Active or passive? The answer is passive. Let's have another. Henry ate fruits and vegetables at dinner. Henry ate fruits and vegetables at dinner. Aha! That is in the active voice. What about this one? Marlon changed the flat tire. Marlon changed the flat tire. You're right. That is in the active voice. What about this? The entire building was painted by Carlos. The entire building was painted by Carlos. Active or passive? It is in the passive voice. Let's have another. The house will be cleaned by me every weekend. The house will be cleaned by me every weekend. The correct answer is passive voice. The science class viewed the comet. What about this one? The science class viewed the comet. Aha! That is in the active voice. The question is, did you notice the difference between the active and passive voice? If yes, then let's try to confirm if your observation is correct or wrong. If not yet, then let's go and discuss what active and passive voice are. Let's take a look at these sentences that I'm going to show you. Please observe the words that are underlined. In the first sentence, I like to watch videos. Second, I hope you are reading with me. If you are there watching me, then read while I read. Next, many people watched weather reports to know the weather of the day. A documentary is usually watched by adults. Internet-based programs are often watched by millennials. If you notice, class, the underlined words are our subject. Do you still remember what subject is? I discussed that to you in our previous lesson. In a simple term, we say subject. We refer to subject if we are talking about the one that is being talked about in a sentence. So, in our sentences here, the words I, many people, documentary, and internet-based programs are our subjects. It is very important to identify the subject because if we try to differentiate active from passive voice, you have to know where the subject is for you to know the role or the use of the subject. Here, I like to watch videos. The subject is the doer of the action. I is doing that. I like to watch videos. In here, many people watch weather reports to know the weather of the day. Who is watching weather reports? It's the subject. You're right. So, the subject, many people, is the doer of the action. What about this one? The subject can also be the receiver of the action. Here, a documentary is usually watched by adults. Internet-based programs are often watched by millennials. Who is the doer of the action? The millennials. And so our subject is the receiver of the action. In the first sentence, it's the adults. They are the doer of the action, and documentary is the receiver of the action. Here, let's have another. The rich man accused the father for stealing the spirit of rich man's wealth and food. The subject is the doer of the action. It is the rich man. Let's try to have this one, the next one. The subject is the receiver of the action. Our sentence is, the yummy aroma of the food from a rich man's house was inhaled by the children. Who did the action? The children. And so, the yummy aroma becomes now, the receiver of the action is your children. Okay. And the yummy aroma becomes the subject. Therefore, this is in the passive voice. Did you notice the difference, class? I hope so. If not yet, then let's try to have more exercises. Let's have activity 1, Oh My G, grammar, consciousness, and awareness. Let's try to let's learn, or these are the things that we have to remember. The voice of an action verb indicates whether the subject performs or receives the action. And there are two types of voice. We have the active voice and the passive voice. When the subject does or acts upon the verb, the sentence is said to be in the active voice. So we have here, my mother baked that yummy cake. Who baked the yummy cake? It's the mother, and that is the doer of the action. So that is passive voice. When the subject, in the other hand, receives the action of the verb, the sentence is said to be in the passive voice. For example, the yummy cake was baked by my mother. Who baked it? It's the mother. And the object comes first. I'm so sorry for the formula there. Anyway, let's try to make or change active to passive voice. The first thing you have to do is to identify tenses of verb and change it into be verb plus the past participle tense. I will teach you how to change it into verb be, or we call it be verb. Here, in our example, first example, the government gives relief goods. That is in the active voice. What is our verb? Yes, the word gives. How are you going to change the word gives into verb be plus past participle? If it is in the simple present tense, you just have to use is or are plus the past participle. What is a past participle? Gives is the present, gave is the past tense, given is the past participle. Let's have another word. Write, the word write. Write, wrote, written. Written is the past participle. What about the word climb? Climb, climbed, climbed. Climbed is the past participle. Okay? Next step. You move the direct object to the beginning of the sentence and then add the preposition by before the subject. So it will become the government gives relief goods. It will become relief goods are given by the government. I use the word are because relief goods, that is a plural subject. So relief goods are given by the government. Is that clear? What if your verb is in the past tense? So it's no longer gives. It turned into gave because I'm using the past tense. The government gave relief goods. What are you going to do? How are you going to transform the word gave into a verb be? Okay, that's the time we use the words was or were. Remember, in the simple present, we use is or are. But if it is in the past tense, we use was or were. Plus the past participle. So, you put the object in the beginning of the sentence, relief goods, and then, what are we going to use? Was or were. Since relief goods is plural, we use were. Relief goods were given by the government. That is for the past tense. What if it is in the future tense? We use the word will. Like the government will give relief goods. If there is a use of will, then you use will be plus the past participle of the verb. So, get the object, put it in front, relief goods, and then will be given by the government. Be it singular subject or singular or plural subject, just use will be given or will be plus past participle. Let's have another. How do we change active to passive voice if it is in the present progressive sentence or tense? Like, is watching, is viewing, is dancing, is looking. Then you just have to use is or are plus being plus past participle. So here, relief goods are being given by the government. Is that clear? Well, I hope so. The next one is present perfect tenses. When we talk of present perfect tenses, we have the use of has or have plus the past participle. Has given, has received, has walked, like that. Okay, so we have here relief goods, or the government has given relief goods. So it will become relief goods have been given by the government. Next, what about for past perfect tense? The use of had plus past participle. The government had given relief goods. All you have to do is you use had plus add been and then the past participle. Let's go back to the present perfect tense. In the present perfect tense, you have to identify whether your subject is singular or plural. If it is singular, you use has. If it is plural, you use have. However, class, in the past perfect tense, you don't have to consider the number of subject anymore. Why? Because you only use had. So, the government had been given, relief goods had been given by the government. Okay? So, let's have more and more examples. Here, the choir sings love songs. You put the direct object in front, so it will become love songs. Change sings, that's in the present tense. So you use either is or are plus the past participle. So we have sings, love songs. Of course, songs, we use are sung by the choir. Here, the cat eats fish. You put fish in front. The fish, that's singular. So you use is. The fish is eaten by the cat. Here, the boys will run a race. Take note, I used will run. There are some words which do not change in the tense or the form of the past participle. For example, run. The word run, the past tense is ran, and the past participle is run also. So, the boys will run a race. A race will be run by the boys. Okay? We have the word come. Come, came, and then come. Let's have another. Active voice, it says, Sarah mailed the document. The document was mailed by Sarah. Okay. So, here we have past tense. Mailed. Therefore, we use was or were plus the past participle. Since we have document, that is singular, then we use was. The document was mailed by Sarah. Another. Wise men make many inventions. Wise men make many inventions. Many inventions are made by wise men. I used are because our verb in the sentence is make, and that is in the simple present tense. So, the question now is, when do we use active voice? Active voice is used when the doer of the action is more important than the action. Okay? When it is really a must to tell who did it. For example, I really love this dog. Monkeys live in the jungle. She threw the ball to John. The dog ran back to the car. I made a mistake. Try to remove I, monkeys, she, the dog, and I in the sentences. Will it make sense? No, right? Because in the first sentence, for example, I really love this dog. It's very important to know who is loving that dog. Okay? So, that's the first use of active voice. Now, active voice is also used in making commands or requests. Open the window, carry the books, do it alone, catch the ball, feed the dog. Oh, those are commands, right? Now, you cannot see any subject there. There's no subject in there. Why? Because your subject is invisible. The subject is the word you. You open the door, you open the window, you carry the books, you do it alone. Okay? So for sentences like that, imperatives or the commands or requests, we use the word you. There is an invisible subject, and that is the word you. Here, giving instructions can be done in the active voice also. Instructions, requests, commands. Just like in there, turn off the electricity. Who is turning off the electricity? It's you. You whom I am talking to. Cut the spices in small pieces. What's the subject? Who is going to do that? You. Okay, you cut the spices in small pieces. Next, when do we use the active voice? We use it when the actor is unknown. For example, the motorcycle was stolen. Who stole it? We do not know. That's why we use the passive voice. Another, the actor is irrelevant. We don't need to mention it. No, it's not that we don't need to mention it, but we don't know who they are specifically. So, here, for example, a COVID-19 vaccine will be discovered by researchers soon. We do not know those researchers yet. So, what's more important is the COVID-19 vaccine. That's why we use the passive voice. Another, you want to be indefinite about who is responsible. Like, mistakes were made. Who made the mistakes? I don't want to tell you. So I use passive voice. And you want to emphasize the person or thing acted on. The virus that caused COVID-19 was discovered in 2020. So what do we want to emphasize? It's the virus and not the one who discovered the virus. And we also use passive voice if we are writing an experiment result or report. So we'd say, the salt was dissolved in water. Who dissolved the salt? It doesn't matter. That is the result of an experiment. Okay, so in our activity 3, let's try to find out if you know which idea or information should you prioritize. So we have here, write a sentence either in the active or passive voice using the ideas below. Decide on which is more important, the doer or the action, to determine your answer. So you will be given sentences. All you have to do is you write either. When we say either, it can be an active or a passive. You write either an active voice or passive voice. And then first is you have to identify or you have to decide which is more important, the doer or the action. Let's have an example. Aside from the example given to you in the module, I'll also give you one more example. The situation is police arresting COVID-19 protocol violators. Do you want to give more importance to the doer or the action? Which is more important for you, the doer or the action? Well, if you choose the doer, then your sentence will be, the police is arresting the COVID-19 protocol violators. If that is your, if the doer is more important, then that is in the active voice. But if you think that the action is more important, then your sentence will be, the COVID-19 protocol violators are being arrested by the police. Okay? So that will be in the passive voice. And that's it. Congratulations for for getting this far in the video. I hope you understood the lesson already, and I hope that you will be able to answer the activities in the module easily. If you have any questions, do not forget to contact me via Facebook, in our group, or via Messenger, or maybe through my cell phone number. Once again, I am Mrs. Elvira A1. My contact number is 0948-479-2862, and my Facebook account is Elvira Arucanjan. You can see it below, okay? So thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see each other again next week. Goodbye, grade 7 students. Have fun and enjoy learning.